there's a lot going on. I was saying before that the Epstein scandal is super relevant because of the political effects it's having on Trump. And the more he tries to skate away from it, in a way, the more relevant it becomes. When I stack it up against the things that are happening in the country, tariffs, deportations, the lawlessness of all of these things that this administration is doing, in my judgment, it doesn't measure up. I mean, aside from the real cost that there is associated with the victims. But what I mean to say is, because of its political relevance, I think it really is a front and center issue now.
I agree with you, and it's going to continue to be. All you have to do is watch. And the biggest, most telling moment was when Speaker Johnson, as you pointed out a few moments ago, sent Congress home early. There's no doubt about it. This is a scandal which, let me emphasize, is more involved with a cover-up than anything else. And that's what brought Nixon down, the cover-up, not the Watergate break-in, but the cover-up. And what you're seeing now from the White House is a cover-up, and there's no doubt about it. And Republicans are very uncomfortable with it, and the Democrats obviously are uncomfortable. And the point is, if there's nothing to hide, why are they doing this? That's the question.
Well, let's look at something from the Oval Office. Trump is, again, for Trump, there's no meeting worth having unless it's on camera. So he's having a meeting with the new head of the Philippines. And by the way, this would be Ferdinand Marcos's son.
It's Ferdinand Marcos Jr., who's been president now for quite a while, actually.
Now, John, you'll correct me if I'm wrong, but Ferdinand Marcos was a brutal dictator of the Philippines, was he not?
Yes, who was ultimately overthrown, you will recall. And he and Imelda made all their money and did all their stuff. But his son inherited the Marcos machine and is running it quite well.
The reason I mention it is one of the things that Trump said during these sort of pleasantries that are extended is, "You're from a great family. Your family is such a great family." I'm thinking, such a great family. He was a brutal dictator who was overthrown by the people of the Philippines. I mean, again, it was kind of like the "where did you learn English and learn to speak so well" moment. It was just a little bit weird. Here is a little bit of the Oval Office back and forth. So again, during that, Trump gets a question about Bondi and Todd Blanche, the Justice Department top heads, going to visit Ghislaine Maxwell.
Seeking an interview with Ghislaine Maxwell and George, the Attorney General, to see.
I don't know anything about it. They're going to what? Meet her?
Your Deputy Attorney General has reached out to Ghislaine Maxwell's attorney asking for a new interview.
Yeah, I don't know about it, but I think it's something that sounds appropriate to do, yeah.
Do you have any concern that your Deputy Attorney General, as your former attorney, would be conducting the interview, given?
No, I have no concern. He's a very talented person. He's very smart. I didn't know that they were going to do it. I don't really follow that too much. It's sort of a witch hunt, just a continuation of the witch hunt. The witch hunt that you should be talking about is they caught President Obama absolutely cold, Tulsi Gabbard. What they did to this country in 2016, starting in 2016, but going up to 2020 of the election. They tried to rig the election, and they got caught. And there should be very severe consequences for that. When we caught Hillary Clinton, I said, you know what? Let's not go too far here. It's the ex-wife of a president, and I thought it was sort of terrible. And I let her off the hook, and I'm very happy I did. But it's time to start, after what they did to me, and whether it's right or wrong, it's time to go after people. Obama's been caught directly. So people say, oh, a group. It's not a group. It's Obama. His orders are on the paper. The papers are signed. The papers came right out of their office. They sent everything to be highly classified. Well, the highly classified's been released. And what they did in 2016 and in 2020 is very criminal. It's criminal at the highest level. So that's really the things you should be talking about. I know nothing about the other, but I think it's appropriate that they do go.
May I ask you about that, Mr. President?
Yeah.
Tulsi Gabbard has submitted a criminal referral to the Department of Justice. From your perspective, who should the DOJ target as part of their investigation? What specific figures in the Obama administration?
Well, based on what I read, and I read pretty much what you read, it would be President Obama. He started it. And Biden was there with him, and Comey was there, and Clapper, the whole group was there. Brennan, they were all there in a room right here. This was the room. This is much more beautiful than it was then, but that's okay. I have nice pictures up. They came out of the vaults. They were in there for 100 years. This is much more beautiful. We have the Declaration of Independence now in the room, which wasn't here. I guess people didn't feel too good about putting it here, but I do. But you know what? If you look at those papers, they have them stone cold, and it was President Obama. It wasn't lots of people all over the place. It was them too. But the leader of the gang was President Obama, Barack Hussein Obama. Have you heard of him? And except for the fact that he gets shielded by the press for his entire life.
All right, there you
They,
go. That just I let it run. First of all, of course he's got this the knife out always for Obama, but I wonder if you could speak to this Tulsi Gabbard revelation that she has discovered enough in her intelligence community looking at the 2016 election, again another obsession of Donald Trump, to actually produce a criminal referral to the Justice Department related to Obama.
Use the word that we did not hear in this recording, but which is everywhere, about treason. Donald Trump said that Barack Hussein Obama committed treason. Do you understand? Never in the history of our country, not since the Civil War, have we heard treason used in this fashion. And may I say, it is so appalling, it is almost beyond words. I do not understand why there isn't universal condemnation of this.
The Gabbard tweet, Albert, she posted in social media, which is, I guess, just the way stuff is done in this administration. She posted something that was really designed, I thought, I mean, based on the post, to appeal to the boss, to the president. She said, their goal, this is from the DNI, Tulsi Gabbard, the Director of National Intelligence, their goal was to usurp President Trump and subvert the will of the American people. No matter how powerful, every person involved in this conspiracy must be investigated and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. The integrity of our democratic republic depends on it. We are turning over all documents to the DOJ for criminal referral. And of course, the attached document is new evidence, it's titled, of Obama's administration conspiracy to subvert President Trump's 2016 victory and presidency. So the specifics here, I think, fall into the category of that which the opening statement falls into, crafted for the president to feel good about Tulsi Gabbard and the job she's doing. This goes nowhere. And this is the question I have for you. First of all, I'd love for you to comment on that, but also, wouldn't, even if this were true, and I'm sure it's total BS, but even if it were true, wouldn't the actions of President Obama be covered by the immunity decision made by the Supreme Court?
Well, that's exactly right. But let me be clear about this. Do you understand? Do our listeners understand that Donald Trump accused former President Barack Obama of treason? Treason. There was no ambiguity about his statement. And to me, that is the most appalling thing. You can't make this up. I talked with somebody who said, John, you're so outraged. Why are you outraged? And I said, because I get outraged every time they do something like this. And on the Epstein case, it's purely a deception. The simple truth is Donald Trump could release all the files on Martin Luther King Jr. relating to the assassination. If he said release the Epstein files, they would be released. And I don't know if there's anything in them. All I know is that Epstein was convicted, is now dead. But Donald Trump clearly does not want something revealed. And it is what he does not want revealed that needs to be understood. Republicans are panicked. Why do you think Speaker Johnson, as you pointed out, why do you think Speaker Johnson brought the session of the House to a quick close, sent them home? They don't want to have to deal with this. So that means that we will continue to wallow in this until September, when Congress comes back. And at that point, maybe we'll find out. But in the meantime, Donald Trump is getting away with accusing Barack Obama of treason. And let me be clear, there are many things on which you can disagree with Barack Obama, but Barack Obama did not commit treason. Oh, and by the way, you heard in the thing that Albert just played, that the president of the United States referred to Hillary Clinton as the former wife of President Clinton, which of course is inaccurate. But he is completely out of his mind when it comes to these things. And may I also quickly point out, you and I come out of radio and television, and look what the Trump administration is doing to NPR, both on radio and television. There's a story in this morning's Chronicle about the fact that the independent radio station up in Eureka and television station may go into bankruptcy. They won't have the money to continue. And that's happening across the board. There is something terribly amiss, and I don't care whether you're a Trump supporter or not. This kind of vindictive misuse of power is exactly what the founders opposed. And well,
I wanted to just to say one thing quickly about treason. Treason is a very, very high bar to clear to actually get a conviction. That you'll remember even in the J6 stuff, they talked about treason and they talked about other things. Generally, these things are related to a wartime situation in which there might be espionage or might be, collusion with the enemy.
Sedition.
Yeah, but even sedition is not right. Sedition can be in the same category, but that sedition was relative to the J6 people that was invoked in that way, and actually they achieved convictions. But of course, they all got pardons. But I guess what I'm trying to say
Donald Trump.
Yeah, by Donald Trump. Treason is one of those things thrown around. My dad was a constitutional lawyer, and I used to go. I remember as a kid, is that treason? Is that treason? And my dad used to have to go. Treason is so difficult both to prove, and also the definition is slippery. So it's one of those words that's really powerful, and it's a great headline grabber. But from a legal standpoint, treason is one of those things that is seldom invoked anymore. So, but in any case, he uses it because it's a headline grabber, as I say. I just want to run out what he had to say, or what is sort of the Russian interference in that election is something that the intelligence community has identified, John. I mean, I'm talking about the 2016 election, and in reports, the intelligence assessment of the 2016 election found that some standard procedures were not followed, with analysts having been given an unusually short time to produce their report, but the review did not refute the findings of the intelligence assessment that Russia sought to interfere in the election. Again, that was the agency review in 2017. But
that is correct. And I want to point out, I played ads on the air produced by the Russians for strategically placed districts in order to give Trump an advantage and disadvantage Obama. And I rather Clinton. And I think it's very important to point out that, of course, the Russians interfered in the election. Question of collusion, and my son Samuel challenged me on this. He said, well, there was no proof of collusion. There was proof of interference, and collusion implies that Donald Trump supervised it. I don't think he supervised it. I think the Russians did it to assist him.
Right,
of course,
right. I mean, that seems indisputable,
Oh, no, he disputes it. Oh, no, Donald Trump
he disputes it, but okay. This is a rare moment during which Obama came forward through a spokesperson and said the following. In a statement sent to reporters on Tuesday, a spokesperson for former President Barack Obama dismissing Donald Trump's ridiculous accusation that Obama had committed, quote, treason in 2016, by directing his administration to reveal after the 2016 election that the Russian government had attempted to boost Trump's candidacy. The statement from the spokesperson is this: Out of respect for the office of the presidency, our office does not normally dignify the constant nonsense and misinformation flowing out of this White House with a response. But these claims are outrageous enough to merit one. These bizarre allegations are ridiculous and a weak attempt at distraction. Nothing in the document issued last week undercuts the widely accepted conclusion that Russia worked to influence the 2016 presidential election, but did not successfully manipulate any votes. These findings were affirmed in a 2020 report by the bipartisan Senate Intelligence Committee led by then chairman, wait for it, Marco Rubio.
That's correct. But I want you to know,
well, that's huge. I mean, dude, your own people. Guy. Look to you've given him, you put him in charge of the State Department and 5 other things because you keep firing people and you keep giving the stuff to Marco Rubio. His own committee said that there was an attempt to interfere in the election, and indeed, Russian interference was present in that 2016 election.
Don't confuse people with the facts, Mark.
So that's where we stand. I just wanted people to hear what Obama's response was.
Yeah.
Now,
but to me, it is so profoundly disturbing. And in a normal time, there would be tremendous outrage. There would be fury. But Donald Trump has created a situation in which nothing is normal. And I said, actually, the other day to someone, it's not normal. And they said, but what Donald Trump is doing now is the norm. It has become normal. And that is the ultimate American tragedy.
I want to ask you what the future of FEMA is in your view. This is just to pivot for a moment, because, you know, the Texas flood disaster shows at one time the imperative that FEMA responds to, right? And it also shows how a well-run agency under a director who has their act together can make a difference or completely screw things up. Yeah. The Christine
Good job, Brownie. Remember that?
Yeah, I mean, that was from Hurricane Katrina. But in this case, you have the biggest natural disaster in the history of Texas, that in certainly modern history, and I think in the history of the state. And you have Christine Nome having imposed some kind of ridiculous draconian budget request so that anything that exceeded $100,000, she had to have personal approval of. Well, virtually everything done when it comes to addressing a natural disaster of this size exceeds $100,000. So you had literally days and days going by. They were unable to get staffers on the ground. They were unable to provide basic assistance because even basic assistance exceeds that threshold of $100,000. So that's just one example. I'm asking you about FEMA because I think there'll be more of these natural disasters, and they're going to hit red states too, man. Florida, along the Gulf Coast, Louisiana, etc. It's hurricane season, and a lot of Donald Trump's MAGAville will be affected by this as well.
The proof is in the aftermath, Mark, and that is that Donald Trump called for the removal, the extinction of FEMA. He's no longer doing that. Now they're talking about making it better. But the simple truth is, not only has FEMA been gutted, NOAA has been gutted. Not only that, they're not allowed to report the weather crises around. I mean, it's insanity. And may I tell you, if I sound frustrated, it is because I am. This is not a normal time. This is not a normal administration. Whether you're dealing with the Epstein case, and by the way, we've only touched on the release of the Martin Luther King Jr. files, which is the ultimate distraction over the objection, by the way, of the Martin Luther King Jr. family. I mean,
Well, that was so clearly a distraction and just red meat for his base. But just to put a button on FEMA, the former urban search and rescue chief has now resigned and said that the resignation was because of the policies of the new administration that delayed disaster response to this deadly
that is correct
area of Texas. Yeah.
Will there? I guess my problem, and if I seem almost tongue-tied, which is not normal for someone who is in our business, it is because what is happening is so outrageous. It is so egregious. It is so unprecedented in the history of our republic. And the fact that Trump is getting away with it, and the fact that the Speaker of the House of Representatives is sending the House home until September in the midst of all of this is absolutely incomprehensible to me. I'm going to teach a course in 5 years on the Trump administration, and I will no doubt have a lot more to say because we'll know a lot more. But everybody should understand how thoroughly horrific what is happening is for all of us. And may I say, I haven't talked about ICE with you.
No,
The
this is
latest
exactly the
revelation-
question. Phineas is saying, ask Rothman about ICE, aka Trump's Gestapo, something we need to be seriously concerned about, how we can stop them. Go ahead.
Phineas, I didn't know you were going to ask the question, but I can only tell you my friends in the Hispanic community are terrified. And I know you all have the same feeling. My sister's son is married to an El Salvadoran woman whose mother is afraid to go out of her house because she's afraid she'll be rounded up and deported. And of course, we all understand the implications. I remember reading about the Palmer raids. A. Mitchell Palmer, who was the Attorney General under Woodrow Wilson, and they rounded up people from Eastern Europe, by the way, primarily Jews, and deported them back to Russia because they were viewed as extremists. That went to the United States Supreme Court in 1920, and the Palmer raids were stopped. My question is, where is the Supreme Court on all of this? It is one of the ultimate tragedies for this great country that the failure of the Supreme Court in these matters is so clear and precise. It is a real blow to American democracy as we know it, and I hope it can be reclaimed. That was the question, the other question that was posed to me. What happens if we get a president of the United States who will reverse much of this? They can reverse a lot of it because a lot of it's been done by executive order. But the damage is severe. What do you do with the thousands and thousands and thousands of people who lost their jobs in vital agencies? Look what's happening right now in FEMA, in NOAA. Look what's happening in the Justice Department. Do you know, Mark, the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department has been cleaned out? And now, how do you get a fair process going? What Donald Trump has done,
as you know, there have been mass resignations at the Justice Department, FBI, the same story. FBI, of course, doing the loyalty tests with
what Donald Trump has done is
the lie
unconscionable.
detectors. Yeah.
I mean, you and I agree on that. And one of the reasons why I'm so delighted to be able to be with you on this program is because we need to spread the word. I do it in my podcast almost every single day. My podcast today is all about the charge that Trump made against Obama of treason. Can you imagine a former president of the United States of America being accused of treason? Oh, wait a minute,
Yeah.
wait a minute. Can you imagine the same guy who did that also said that Barack Obama wasn't qualified to be president because he wasn't born in the United States of America? Talk about conspiracy theories that are absolutely ridiculous.
I want to finish up with the death of Roy Black, who is the Epstein lawyer. On the one hand, it was mentioned in the chat just a moment ago, and I don't want to leave without mentioning it or touching it. I don't see it, the comment now, but anyway, Roy Black was an Epstein lawyer, very high-profile attorney, defense attorney who defended Epstein. He's the one who made the deal with Alex Acosta. He's the one who made that deal. This deal that was literally a get-out-of-jail-free card for Jeffrey Epstein. So Black dies at age 80, and he was like considered the greatest of all time. You know, he was like the Michael Jordan of law, of defense attorneys. And I'm just, simply because you're such a student of history, and I'm sure the Roy Black name has rolled around in so many high-profile cases.
Absolutely.
I wanted you to at least have a chance to speak to it.
Well, we don't know the circumstances, but I can tell you this. Comey's daughter, who was the lead prosecutor on the whole business with Epstein, was fired last week. Was fired. She'd been in the Justice Department for 10 years.
She's the one who secured the conviction. Exactly.
Exactly. So,
John, is this witness tampering or intimidation? Bird Dog is asking when you have these high-profile Justice Department people, the top of the Justice Department, Bondi and Blanche, going to meet with Ghislaine Maxwell. Is that
yes? The
witness
argument
tampering or
can be
intimidation?
made.
Yes. Yeah.
There is no precedent for this kind of thing at all, ever. And look, here's the problem we're having, Mark. It's one thing after another. You and I could spend the next 10 hours going down the list of outrageous things that have happened. First problem is, how do people keep it all straight? The second problem is you now have media being censored, being controlled. You have a suit against the Wall Street Journal for $20 billion. Mark, if you could just file a lawsuit against somebody for $20 billion, you wouldn't have to do any fundraising. Well, you'd be an independent force.
Well, he's been able to do it, John. He's been able to leverage. Now he picks these
and
numbers
there is
out
no precedent for it in American history.
Apparently, just when you go through these defamation lawsuits, you can name whatever number you want, and then if you actually get it adjudicated, they work out the numbers. But he doesn't want this to actually go to trial. The Wall Street Journal defamation case is all about Epstein. You'd be able to depose him. I made this point a few days ago on the show. You'd be able to depose Donald Trump. And you'd also get access to all these files. You absolutely would have legal right to review all of these materials. So he doesn't want it to actually go there. This is all, again, distraction, intimidation, pushback. But let's be fair, John. He has a lot of leverage as president of the United States. He can make life pretty bad for Murdoch. He's already done it. He got ABC to tap out. He got Paramount CBS to cancel Colbert.
CBS?
And the 60 Minutes lawsuit settlement. I mean, he's got major academic institutions rolling over for him and legal institutions. This is a scary time in America.
Thank God Harvard is fighting back, and many academic institutions are fighting back. But Mark, I want to thank you, because what you do on this program in terms of alerting people, my only regret is that we don't have more people attuned to this. And there are still people who say, well, he did win the election. Just let him go and do what he wants to do. We'll judge him in 4 years or 3 years now. I have to tell you, the price of liberty is eternal vigilance. And I believe that what Donald Trump is doing is so destructive that it is almost beyond words. And I want to reiterate this. To accuse Barack Obama of having committed treason is an obscenity, an obscenity.
John can be found daily. Around the Political World with John Rothmann is the name of the podcast. All you need to know in like 8 or 10 minutes. I forget, is it 8 or 10 minutes?
Depends on how long-winded I am.
What?
I like a man who's not bound by time. And next week is our last visit with you, because then you go on vacation for a little while, right?
Yes, I'm going to be away for 3 weeks. I want you to know that it will be extremely frustrating for me not to be able to communicate with you each week, but I know that you will handle it well, Mark. And I will be here next Wednesday, but I want to urge everybody to support the Mark Thompson program, but not only support it, let people know about it. The more information gets out about what is revealed here on the Mark Thompson program, I think the better off we are. And may I say,
love that we have time for that little endorsement. Go ahead. Well, we don't have time for you to say anything nice about Kim. I'm sorry. Thank you, John.
No. I'm just going to say, Mark is away. Mark is going to be away the next couple of days. If you need me for anything, Kim, I am your servant.
Oh, that's sweet. All right. Well done. John Rothmann, everybody. Thanks, John.
Thanks, Mark.
Hi, it's Mark, and I thought that was great. Hit the notification bell. You'll know whenever there's a new video being dropped, and please subscribe to our channel to help us save the universe.